Welcome, and thank you for joining me on this quiet voyage through time. We'll begin by walking in the sandals of a lowly field laborer, feeling the weight of each day's toil. Then we'll follow a dynastic king whose reign shaped the fate of an empire. We'll pause at the edge of a sacred cenote to ponder mysteries sealed beneath the water. And finally, we'll step into the polished chambers of Maya, nobility where jade masks gleam under torchlight and royal banquets unfold in hushed elegance. Tonight, we drift away from the present and settle softly into the world of the classic Maya. Imagine yourself standing beneath the great ceiba trees. I invite you to settle in, soften your gaze, and let the rustle of ancient canopies guide you deeper as we walk this path together. Allow the steady rhythm of these lives so distant, yet so resonant to carry you toward calm and rest. Their trunks wide and smooth, leaves rustling overhead. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and flowering guava, and somewhere nearby, the faint call of a toucan echoes across the clearing. Over the next 2 hours, we will explore the hidden truths of the Maya city-states. Each segment will flow gently into the next, like the slow current of a jungle river. Segment 1. Why it sucked to be a Maya field laborer. Imagine you are a young villager at dawn, feet bare on the cool, moss-dappled ground. A thin mist hovers above the furrowed field, your field where the towering ceiba trees give way to rows of maize stalks almost as tall as you. The sun will rise quickly, hands moving in a practiced rhythm, planting kernels one by one into the dark, volcanic soil. Each kernel carries the promise of life and the burden of expectation. The villagers depend on you for each new shoot, each future cob of maize that will feed the city, transforming that mist into a heavy heat. Tiny insects, black flies, stalking ants probe your skin, and you shoo them away with patient swats. The water, cool against your blistered hands, brings only brief respite. You will rise again, back into the sun's full glare, and from dawn until dusk, this will repeat. Dig, plant, bend, stand, pause, and press on. You sip slowly each drop precious and crouch on a jagged rock, feeling the smooth underside of the gourd in your palm. But before we move on, linger here, in the dust, the sun, and the steady rhythm of labor that sustained an empire. Imagine yourself there, hearing the soft splash of water, tasting the faint sweetness of clay on your lips. A single scratch may bleed easily in this humid air. You bend to your work. They are the lifeblood of the city. Each kernel you plant carries hopes, prayers, and the weight of tradition. Again, you lift the stick, you press it in, you plant the seed, and you bend to the earth, burning away the mist and bathing the field in brightness. In this glare, the soil cracks. The air shimmers with heat. The scent of dust and drying grass fills your nostrils. You pause only to straighten, fingers trembling, to wipe a bead of perspiration from your brow. The sweat beads at your hairline as the jungle's symphony swells, cicadas droning, distant howler monkeys greeting the dawn, the soft slap of birds' wings against foliage. There is no pause in your task. The small bundle of tortillas you carry is still untouched, for you dare not rest until this row is done. In the distance, the great silhouette of your city's pyramid temple stands silent. Its stones radiate heat, as if the very gods above are watching your every move. You lift a long-handled digging stick, its wooden shaft worn smooth by generations of hands. Press it into the earth, then pry upward. Your back arches, your shoulders strain. The sun climbs higher now. Again, you lift. Again, you press the stick into the ground. Again, you plant another kernel. The rhythm of their lives is relentless. By mid-morning, hunger gnaws at your belly. Your skin, once unmarked, is now streaked with dust and sweat. Your legs ache from standing all morning, calves burning as they hold you upright. As noon approaches, you dip a gourd into a shallow creek for relief. Soon, the overseer's call will signal the break is ended. These fields are not merely plots of earth. In a moment, we will leave this field behind and follow the journey of a ruler whose life seemed worlds apart. So ends the tale of Pakal, a king remembered as Pakal the Great, who ruled the Maya city of Palenque during the 7th century CE. When a baby boy was born in the Maya city of Palenque, nestled deep within the jungles of what is now Mexico, his mother, Yol Iconal, was a minor queen. Before you lies a courtyard ringed with white marble columns. These traders have traversed dense jungles and crossed treacherous swamps, following ancient pathways known only to them. They bring with them goods fit for a king, colorful textiles, polished jade ornaments, fragrant copal incense, and the prized feathers of the resplendent quetzal. Here, men dressed in jaguar pelts beat a large drum with long sticks, their lamps casting flickering shadows on the stone floor. But all show respect to your mother, the ruler of Palenque. The sight of such treasures fills you with awe. but you don't understand their significance yet. When you are 12 years old, a delegation from a rival kingdom arrives bearing a message. They demand tribute and threaten war if their demands are not met. From the art of war to the intricacies of diplomacy, you study the glyphs of kings, trying to decipher the secrets of the past. It is a time of both joy and sorrow. You will commission temples that pierce the sky. Their caravan lamps will flicker through the undergrowth like fireflies, guiding them to the heart of your city. Their steep pyramids adorned with intricate carvings telling tales of your lineage and victories. For you have learned much from your mother, and now it is up to you to carry on her legacy. You learn the intricacies of the long count calendar and the Maya creation story, understanding that you are not just a ruler, but a link in the chain of history itself. You see fear in your mother's eyes, but she remains resolute. Swords flash and armor rattles, and the ground is quickly stained crimson with the blood of both sides. They chant your name, praising you for your courage and leadership. The air is thick with excitement and relief. Looking out at your subjects, you feel a surge of pride. In 683 CE, at the age of 80, you fall gravely ill. The room is dimly lit. The only sounds your labored breathing and the chanting of priests at your bedside. Their voices rise and fall like waves crashing on the shore, a soothing rhythm that does little to ease your pain. The doctors do their best to treat you, but your body is weak. But as the sun begins its slow descent, your forces prevail. Is now just a memory, a story whispered through the ages. And yet his legacy lives on, not just in the ruins of Palenque, but in the hearts and minds of those who knew him. He is a reminder that even the greatest of kings must one day face their mortality. Their smoky glow dancing off turquoise jewelry worn by your courtiers. The scent of copal incense drifts through the air, mingling with the sweet aroma of copal flowers. They place a jade death mask over your face, hiding your features from the world. They shift the stones, sealing the chamber, blocking out the daylight and swallowing the sounds of the outside world. Soon, only total silence remains. You instruct your servants to bring forth golden masks, obsidian mirrors and a conch shell filled with sacred water. The city of Palenque is plunged into mourning, draped in violet cloth. Your body is carried to the great pyramid of the inscriptions, your final resting place. These are symbols of your power, your wisdom and your connection to the divine. Beneath the flickering light, you feel like a god among men, victorious and powerful. Seeing visions of your life from your childhood to your greatest victories, you remember the thrill of battle, the cheers of your people, and the quiet moments of peace when you walk the halls of your palace alone. The invaders are driven back, their numbers depleted, their morale broken. March is on Palenque's walls. The midday sun beats down, and in the distance, you hear the clash of arms. Soldiers from the coalition are attacking your city's western gate, its tip gleaming in the sunlight, and address your courtiers, their faces tense with worry. You tell them of your bravery, of how your ancestors defeated many an enemy, and urge them to remain calm. Their shouts echoing through the square. Some hold wooden shields emblazoned with the image of a fierce jaguar, while others grip long, sharp spears, their points aimed at the sky, mingling with the clash of steel and the roar of the attackers. This is your signal. With a determined look on your face, you order your men to charge forward, joining the fray. The invaders come from kingdoms both near and far, united in their desire to plunder your city. Under your mother's guidance, you learn to make decisions that affect the lives of your people, balancing the needs of merchants, farmers and artisans, ensuring the prosperity of Palenque. Instead, you reach out to touch a brightly colored parrot, and the bird squawks loudly, flapping its wings. You giggle, delighting in the sound. A ceremony is held that day, and you are called forward, your heart pounding in your chest. You stand before the assembled court and your mother, the queen. An old priest places a feathered headdress on your head, declaring you Paco, the future king of Palenque. As the crowd murmurs and claps, you realize this is no ordinary headdress. It's a symbol of your lineage, a sign of your connection to the gods. Each feather, intricately carved and gilded, represents a great ancestor, a reminder of the legacy you now embody. Their movements are hypnotic, the rhythm resonating deep within you. Each drop of blood a silent plea to the gods above, asking for strength and wisdom in the years ahead. You endure these trials with stoic calm, knowing they are preparing you for what is to come. She smiles, her eyes filled with affection and pride, letting blood drip onto the waiting jaws of a wooden jaguar deity. You won't understand the meaning of such rituals, but you will watch with wide eyes. There you will sit on a low stool, listening to nobles debate matters of trade and alliances, their voices echoing in the vast hall. You will observe rituals and processions, marveling at the colors and sounds, and witness the pageantry of power as your mother, the queen, makes her entrance, her attendants fanning her face with plumes of peacock feathers. She will ensure you understand the importance of trade, of being a great ruler, and most importantly, of the gods. Across the court, men play the yaxkin, or wind instrument, whose notes seem to float upwards towards the vaulted ceiling. You will stroll through the markets, observing artisans weaving vibrant cloths, goldsmiths hammering silver, and sculptors chiseling figures from solid blocks of limestone. You will see scribes carefully copying ancient texts, their brushes gliding over a handmade paper, and astronomers charting the stars, their instruments helping them track the cycles of the heavens. Some courtiers sit cross-legged on stone benches, watching intently while others dance slowly in pairs, mirroring the measured beats. Having been born just outside of the royal line, at the time, her son would be regarded simply as pakal, meaning shield, which could be said of any male born in the city. Nothing in his early years marked him as destined for greatness. If you visited the site today, leaving Yol Iconal to rule as regent until her son reached his majority. We know relatively little about Pakal's childhood, but we can reconstruct a general picture of life in Palenque during this period. You may have seen his enormous sarcophagus deep inside the pyramid of the inscriptions, adorned with intricate carvings depicting his rise to power. You are walking down a corridor painted with the likenesses of former rulers. Sunlight slants in through rectangular openings in the walls, letting motes dancing in the still air. You pass through doorways framed with bright blue stucco, decorated with intricate patterns of intertwining vines and exotic birds. Beyond, you hear the rhythmic thump of a ritual drum, mingling with the lilting melody of a flute. Or maybe you've heard about the death mask placed atop it, an elaborate affair made from jadeite and rock crystal. But how did Pakal come to be remembered so vividly? Nearly 1,500 years later, how did he go from young prince to legendary king? Let's find out. Our story begins in the year 603 CE. At the tender age of 2, Pakal's father, King Kayanich Jana, died. So now I want you to close your eyes and imagine this. You round a corner and stop in your tracks. In another part of the complex, merchants from far-off lands arrive carrying exotic goods. You, a young child prince, emerge from the shadows, clutching your mother's hand. You watch as merchants unload their wares. Your mother bends down to pick up a delicate necklace made of small green stones and runs it along your tiny arm. When you are old enough, you will attend ceremonies where she pierces her tongue with an obsidian spike. As you get older, you will begin to learn the secrets of your kingdom. Some days, you will accompany your mother as she presides over court. You will also meet foreign dignitaries who come bearing gifts and paying homage. They will speak in different languages, wear strange garments and follow different customs. Life is not all peaceful, however. This is when your destiny begins to unfold. In the weeks and months that follow, more ceremonies are held, each marking another step in your journey. Ritual scars are made on your body. You train rigorously, learning the skills required of a king. As you grow older, you become more involved in the affairs of the kingdom. At 20 winters, your mother, the queen regent, passes away, and you ascend to the throne of Palenque. Over the next 40 years, you will transform Palenque into one of the most prosperous and powerful cities in the Maya world. Merchants will travel through the dense jungle to pay tribute to you, bringing with them quetzal feathers and jade mosaics. But your reign is not without its challenges. In 630 CE, a coalition of enemies, hearing of your wealth and power, now close your eyes again and picture yourself standing within Palenque's main plaza, robes of embroidered cotton swirling around you. You raise a ceremonial spear. You watch as your elite warriors take their positions, each man ready to defend his home and king. Suddenly, the high-pitched blare of trumpets rings out. For hours, the battle rages. That night, your people pour into the plaza, their faces alight with joy. You allow yourself a moment of triumph as torches are lit. But even for you, great King Pakal, time is ever fleeting. Now close your eyes once more, this time to imagine yourself lying in the great bedchamber of the royal palace, a silk-like hammock gently swaying above you. You drift in and out of consciousness. Your final ritual is a lavish offering to the gods. And then, on August 31st of that year, as the sun rises over the Maya jungle, you breathe your last. As the tomb builders lower you into the earth, Pakal, the great king who had once commanded an army and led his people to prosperity, now let your thoughts drift to a deep, still pool hidden within the limestone jungle, a cenote whose waters are as dark as obsidian. Under its mirror-like surface lie offerings spanning centuries, jade beads, shell necklaces, even human bones. Yet the greatest mystery remains. Why were so many sacrifices cast here? Were they war captives, volunteers seeking divine favor, or unwilling prisoners? When archaeologists first dipped their lamps into these waters in the early 20th century, they pulled up trays of exquisite treasures. Perhaps the Maya believed the cenote was a portal to Xibalba, the underworld. Here, the veil between worlds thins and every tossed trinket was a plea for life, harvest or mercy. The thick foliage parts, revealing water that ripples only when a lone heron lands. You peer in, seeing your own reflection wavering over the shadows of submerged offerings. Kingship was hereditary, but not necessarily a full-time occupation. Warfare was more likely to be over control of resources rather than large-scale campaigns of conquest. Feel the weight of unanswered questions, whispered theories of drought-driven desperation, of kings appeasing rain gods, of cults that vanished with no trace. The war had depleted their ranks, and they turned to human sacrifice to replenish the population. The former must be strong enough to dominate and control, yet also possess sufficient fear of the supernatural to justify the immense cost of human life. The tradition continued for centuries, even after the Spanish conquest, until it was finally suppressed in the 18th century. In times of ecological plenty, human societies can expand rapidly. Ancient civilizations often sacrificed captives in rituals aimed at influencing the behavior of natural phenomena like droughts, floods, and storms. For the Maya, living near tropical forests, periodic droughts were a real threat. Victims were often chosen through a lottery-like system called exocapilli, allowing anyone to be selected, including priests and nobles. Ritualistic human sacrifice was deeply ingrained in Aztec culture, symbolizing their worldview and belief system. If you want to know more about how climate change affected other ancient cultures, check out our video on the Indus Valley Civilization. When the Spanish soldiers demanded to know why the Maya made such sacrifices, they received a chilling explanation. The Maya claimed it was necessary to ensure the sun would rise again. Such tales contribute to the perception of the Maya as bloodthirsty and extreme in their beliefs. However, they also provide insight into the minds of those who lived in pre-Columbian America. Human sacrifice was prevalent throughout the region. Although specific methods varied, this custom was common among numerous Mesoamerican cultures, including the Aztec, Zapotec, and Mixtec. Each group had their own beliefs and motivations. The Spanish conquerors failed to grasp the true nature of these rituals, labeling them as satanic and barbaric, but all believed that human blood could nourish the gods. The stories the conquistadors wrote down help us understand them, too, as they reveal the conqueror's own fears and beliefs. The motives behind these sacrifices were diverse. Over time, much of their culture was lost, but thanks to modern archaeology, we're piecing together the story of this once great civilization, often deeply rooted in a desire to maintain cosmic balance or appease the gods. Each artifact recovered brings us closer to understanding this enigmatic ancient culture. What are your thoughts on the cenote sacrifices? Do you have any theories about the Maya's motivations behind these mysterious offerings? Share your insights in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe for more captivating journeys through time, drawing parallels between the god Kukulkan and the figure described in the Bible. While there may have been similarities, the conquistadors projected their own religious biases onto the Maya, portraying them as demonic. The Maya believed the cenote was a portal to the spirit realm, which made it ideal for contacting deities. Throughout history, various cultures around the world made similar offerings to their deities. The Incas of South America, the Carthaginians in North Africa, and even the ancient Israelites practiced forms of human sacrifice. However, there were also cultures that rejected the practice, such as the Greeks, Romans, and most major branches of Buddhism. The first written account of Maya human sacrifice comes from a Spanish chronicler named Diego de Landa, who described a horrifying scene from the 15th century. In the southern lowlands, victims were commonly thrown into cenotes, deep natural sinkholes filled with water, whose accounts often conflated the Maya with demons, sorcery with witchcraft, and human sacrifice with the worship of Satan. Consequently, much of what we know about the Maya comes from colonial records that paint an inaccurate picture of their beliefs and customs. Archaeological evidence suggests this practice started around the 6th or 7th century, but without birth records, we can only speculate about whether this was a factor in Maya's sacrificial practices. One points to warfare and territorial expansion as a catalyst. Starting around the 6th century, Maya city-states went to war over control of valuable resources, often compared to the Inca. The Aztecs developed in central Mexico between the 14th and 16th centuries, They're infamous for their human sacrifices, which reached alarming levels. The Aztec capital, Tenochtitlan, is said to have practiced mass human sacrifice during festivals, possibly involving thousands of victims. Such events played a crucial role in their religious ceremonies and political agendas, leading to territorial conquests and, tragically, the subjugation of enemy populations. Some captured individuals were enslaved, while others faced a more horrifying fate, becoming sacrificial victims. Monumental architecture flourished, along with writing and a complex calendar system. Their king, Kukulkan, is remembered as a great lawmaker and organizer, but his successor, Yucatcan, embarked on a campaign of conquest, subjugating neighboring city-states. His appetite for expansion led to conflict with the rival kingdom of Uxmal, resulting in a decisive battle at the stronghold of Ichmal. City-states formed alliances and waged wars, sometimes enslaving their defeated enemies. By the 9th century, 6 major city-states dominated, controlling vast territories and commanding enormous wealth and power. Picture yourself at the cenote's edge. Recent sonar mapping has uncovered chambers far beneath the surface, dark caverns where stelae and altars once stood, yet no inscriptions remain to explain the rituals. Join us as we explore the ancient world. From lost cities to ancient artwork, artifacts, and architecture, we bring you new videos every week delving into the mysteries of our past. This is our channel, Hieroglyphic Texts, architectural marvels, and a calendar that anticipated our modern era by 500 years, from the pre-classic period to the decline of the last independent Maya kingdom. In the 17th century AD, this span witnessed significant shifts in art, architecture, and ritual. But one enigma persists, a silent testament to beliefs that defied our understanding. Why did they sacrifice so many people? The Maya left behind an enduring legacy. We often think of ancient civilizations as monolithic, unchanging throughout history. But the Maya civilization evolved over centuries. Early Maya society was stratified, but not to the extent seen in later centuries. While some settlements grew into major city-states, others remained small agricultural communities. As time progressed, Maya society became increasingly urbanized. One of the most powerful states was Chichen Itza, which eventually came under the sway of the Itza Maya. The Itza emerged victorious, but at a cost. Sacrificer and sacrifice are two sides of the same coin. While scholars debate the reasons behind the rise of human sacrifice among the Maya, several theories stand out. Some scholars suggest that overpopulation might have driven the demand for human blood. Another theory revolves around the role of religion and the need to control natural forces. It's hard to talk about sacrifices without mentioning the Aztec Empire. Unlike the Maya, who often sacrificed captives, the Aztecs commonly sacrificed their own citizens. Now let's return to the Maya. Cenotes were considered sacred because they connected the earth and the underworld. According to the account, warriors from the Maya city-state of Uxmal arrived carrying human hearts as offerings to the gods. It's important to note that the Maya weren't alone in practicing human sacrifice. Human sacrifice wasn't limited to Mesoamerica. In general, ancient cultures across the globe engaged in various forms of sacrifice, ranging from animal offerings to human immolation. As you probably know, the Maya didn't write down their version of history. That task fell to the conquistadors. For example, the Spanish invaders claimed that the Maya ruler looked and behaved like Satan. It's unclear whether the Maya made human sacrifices to honor their gods, appease them, or even out of fear. To truly understand the Maya, we must examine the archaeological evidence and strive to see their culture through their own eyes. In the end, the Maya people were conquered and forced to abandon their traditions, including their religious practices. While the story of the cenote sacrifices continues to elude a definitive answer, step now beyond the public plazas into the hidden sanctums reserved for the city's elite priests. Their white garments are woven from beaten bark and cotton, dyed with annatto seeds to a pale rose. Each morning they anoint themselves with jade-infused paste, tracing symbols of sky and maize upon their foreheads. They can predict eclipses, advise on planting seasons, and diagnose ailments through bloodletting signs. They own vast libraries of codices, painted bark paper books that record genealogy, myths, and astronomical tables. In the Temple of the Cross, you witness their silent ceremonies, the flicker of torchlight against relief carvings, the soft chant of ritual glyphs. You've heard tales of its splendor, of how its kings, the Pakal dynasty, have ruled for centuries, maintaining a rigid social order that keeps the city functioning like a well-oiled machine. Standing silently at the edge of the crowd, a small band of robed figures whose very stillness seems to command attention. These are the priests, the intermediaries between the gods and the people, and they are preparing for the ritual of the day, a ritual that will test their powers, their influence, and perhaps their very survival. Each one adorned with intricate carvings that depict scenes from creation myths, historical events, and the lives of the gods. The air is heavy with the scent of incense, the flickering torchlight dancing on the walls, a towering structure carved in the shape of the sacred ceiba tree, a ritual that calls upon the gods to bless the city, to protect the king, and to guide the priests in their divine service, an alliance that could bring prosperity to Palenque or lead to war. The priests must divine the will of the gods, their voices echoing off the ancient stones, calling upon the gods, invoking their power, beseeching their favor. To catch the subtle twitch of his lips, the fleeting shadow that crosses his face, he wipes the sweat from his brow, takes a deep breath, and slowly rises to his feet. His hands are steady now, his eyes focused. He joins the others in the circle, and together they resume the ceremony. For in this world of rituals and omens, every detail counts. Whispers circulate through the marketplace, rumors of rival priests fanning the flames of doubt, of secret rituals and forbidden knowledge, of ancient prophecies foretelling the downfall of Palenque, threatening to collapse into chaos and despair. The city you once admired for its order and tradition is being torn apart by paranoia and suspicion. Can Palenque withstand the forces tearing it apart, or will it succumb to the darkness that threatens to engulf it? The fate of the priests, perhaps of the entire city, hangs in the balance. The priest's lapse, no matter how brief, has introduced a note of uncertainty into the proceedings. The king watches intently, his expression unreadable. You can't help but wonder, are these just idle tales? The joyous atmosphere of the festival has been replaced by a palpable tension. The laughter of children at play is replaced by the hushed tones of adults, discussing the future of Palenque in fearful whispers. Or is there a storm gathering on the horizon? Whether they can restore balance to the ritual and secure the city's fate. Even the gods, it seems, are not immune to the allure of drama. Every gesture, every word, every beat of the ceremonial drum carries weight, and the slightest deviation from the norm can send ripples of fear and uncertainty through the city. You watch, mesmerized, as they dance around the altar, the rustling leaves and chirping insects sounding like ominous murmurs in the growing gloom. The priests, once revered and respected, now find themselves at the center of suspicion and fear, their bodies swaying in perfect synchronicity, their gestures precise and meaningful, and their reading is crucial. If it is positive, the marriage will go ahead and Palenque's fortunes will continue to rise. If not, the union will be postponed, and the city will be plunged into uncertainty. But this is no mere formality. The fate of the city, perhaps even the region, hangs in the balance. Will the gods smile upon Palenque or turn away in anger? Only the priests, with their intimate knowledge of the rituals and their connection to the divine, can hope to know the answer. Every ritual is a gamble, a negotiation with the gods, and today, the stakes are higher than ever. The Axis Mundi, the tree of life that connects the earth, the underworld, and the heavens. They don their ceremonial headdresses adorned with feathers and flowers, each symbol signifying their rank and their role in the ceremony, casting long shadows that writhe like living things. His eyes widen in surprise, his hands trembling. He drops to his knees, his chant turning into a gasp. Has he seen something in the depths of the cross? Some terrible omen, some sign of the gods' displeasure? Or could it be something more mundane, a simple misstep on his path, a momentary lapse in concentration? Imagine the scent of burning copal, the smooth feel of chill morning dew on stone steps, the low hum of devotion resonating through you. Not only do they control access to the divine, but they also serve vital roles in the city's governance, economy, and daily life. Here, bathed in the ethereal glow of oil lamp light, the murals on the walls seem to come alive, depicting the very gods they are about to invoke. The floor is a mosaic of colorful stones, each piece carefully fitted into place to form a map of the underworld, a guide for souls journeying to the afterlife. Some priests are astronomers, tracking the movements of the celestial bodies to keep the city's calendar in sync with the natural world. Others are doctors, diagnosing illnesses and prescribing remedies based on an understanding of the balance between the four humors that govern the body. Still others are historians, meticulously recording the lineage of the ruling dynasty and the deeds of the kings in the great codices. These priests serve as kingmakers, calendar keepers, and healers. Their deep knowledge and their unshakable faith, the priests move forward, their steps measured and precise, their eyes fixed on the temple before them. The crowd parts for them, allowing easy passage to the sacred precinct. Once inside, they enter the cool darkness of the temple, leaving you on the threshold between the earthly and the divine. In their presence, you feel a sense of calm amidst the growing fervor of the crowd. Today is a sacred day, the kind where even the jungle seems to hold its breath, torn between your desire to observe the priests at work and the understanding that you are witnessing something profoundly sacred. What do? It is a day when the barriers between the ordinary world and the spirit realm are at their thinnest. And so the people of Palenque, dressed in their finest garments, many adorned with the insignia of the ruling dynasty, are making their way to the great square before the Temple of the Inscriptions. Rival priests sometimes vie for influence by whispering doubts in the king's ear. Feel the tension. Every flicker of a candle could be an omen. Every misread calendar a step toward exile or worse. Their presence heralded by the rattle of ceramic cups and the clank of gold ornaments. The commoners fall into a disciplined silence, allowing the elite passage. There are merchants with wares piled high on their backs, farmers leading sacrificial fowl, young lovers stealing glances, all united in their devotion to the sacred ceremony about to unfold. Yet with privilege comes danger. This is a history hot tip from a museum. As the sun climbs higher, the air grows thick with anticipation. Among them are you, a non-player character who has journeyed here to experience the culture and religion of this Maya city. The nobility precedes you into the square, but your gaze is drawn to a group apart. Here in Palenque, the priests hold immense power. You find yourself captivated by their quiet confidence. Now it is time for the ceremony to begin. The temple is a labyrinth of chambers and passages. You hesitate. Deep within the temple, the priests gather in the great hall of the cross. One by one, the priests take their places around the central altar. They are about to perform a ritual that has been practiced for generations. The king's son is due to marry a princess from a rival kingdom. As the ceremony begins, you feel a surge of excitement mixed with apprehension. Now they chant in unison. Suddenly, one of the priests falters. You lean forward, eager to decipher the priest's reaction. As the other priests continue their chant, their voices unwavering, the fallen priest struggles to regain his composure. But you can't shake the feeling that something has shifted. And as the ceremony reaches its climax, you find yourself on the edge of your seat, wondering how the priests will navigate this unexpected challenge. The ceremony ends without incident, but the ease with which the priests recover from their stumble does little to quell the unease that has settled over the city. And as the days grow shorter and the shadows lengthen, as the hours pass, the mood in the city shifts. Even the lush greenery of the jungle seems to take on a darker hue. Accusations fly, rivalries flare, and ancient grudges resurface. It seems as though the very foundations of Palenque are trembling. Amidst this turmoil, you feel a growing sense of dread, and as night falls, casting long, menacing shadows across the temples and palaces, you can't help but wonder. In this installment of our series on ancient civilizations, we'll explore a culture whose obsession with calendars and mathematics nearly drove them to madness. So put on your thinking caps, sharpen your pencils. Let's take a deep dive into these aspects of their culture. Grab some paper and join me on an educational adventure back in time to learn about the Maya. This means that the position of a number in a sequence indicated its value. For example, in the number 12,345, the 1 is in the 1's place. They were a way to comprehend the universe. But how did the Maya master this complex system? You might be surprised to learn that their path to mathematical enlightenment was likely paved with simple tools. The abjad, a type of writing system where each symbol represents a sound, and the vigesimal system. They used their calendars to make predictions, particularly about the end of the world. Their achievements in these areas are a testament to their intellectual prowess and their deep connection to the rhythms of the universe. In the Papalva, a sacred text of the Maya, there are prophecies about the end of the world. Maya society was highly stratified with a hierarchical structure that resembled a pyramid. At the top of this social pyramid were the kings, who were considered divine rulers and were seen as intermediaries between the people and the gods. The classic Maya civilization began to decline around the 9th century AD, and several factors contributed to its downfall, and they continued to thrive despite the challenges they faced. Their descendants, the modern Maya, still live in the Yucatan Peninsula, and they have preserved many aspects of their ancient culture. We hope you've gained a deeper appreciation for the rich history and cultural achievements of the Maya civilization. Their story is a testament to the human capacity for innovation, resilience, and spiritual expression. If you enjoyed learning about the Maya, we invite you to stay tuned for more fascinating episodes on ancient civilizations. Thanks for joining us on this journey through time. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and never stop learning. The Maya also left behind a wealth of knowledge and innovation that influenced later civilizations. Their contributions to mathematics, astronomy, and agriculture continue to inspire awe and wonder. They developed new political alliances and trade networks, and they maintained their cultural traditions and knowledge. The post-classic Maya period lasted until the Spanish conquest of the Yucatan in the 16th century. One major factor was overpopulation, which led to the depletion of resources and increased competition for land and food. Another factor was the changing climate, which resulted in droughts and famines that weakened the Maya states. External pressures from neighboring cultures also played a role in the decline. Warfare and trade disruption caused by outside forces contributed to the instability and eventual collapse of the Maya civilization. Below the king was a class of nobles and priests who held significant power and influence. The commoners, who made up the majority of the population, were typically farmers, artisans, or merchants. Slavery existed in Maya society, but it was not hereditary. Slaves could be captured in war or born into slavery, but they could also gain their freedom through purchase or by earning it. According to this ancient text, the world was created by a group of gods known as the Lords of the Dawn. Elite Maya children received a comprehensive education that included mathematics, astronomy, medicine, art, and religion. Scribes were highly respected members of Maya society, as they were responsible for recording important dates, rituals, and transactions. Their skills were essential for maintaining the continuity of Maya culture and tradition. The story goes that in the beginning, there was only darkness, and the gods decided to create the world and all that is in it. The Maya believed in a pantheon of gods and goddesses who controlled various aspects of nature, such as agriculture, rain, and the underworld. They built magnificent temples and pyramids as places of worship, and conducted elaborate rituals to honor their deities. Human sacrifice was a common practice in Maya religion, and it was believed that the blood of human victims renewed the life force of the gods. They created humans from maize or corn and breathed life into them. The first humans were placed on earth with the knowledge that they were to live in harmony with nature and respect the gods. This creation myth reflects the Maya's reverence for nature, particularly maize, which played a central role in their religion and daily life. Maize was not just a staple food source, but was seen as a gift from the gods and a symbol of life itself. The Papalva also tells the story of the hero twins, two brave brothers who journeyed to the underworld and defeat the lords of the underworld in a series of challenges. This tale, filled with symbolism and allegory, explores themes of courage, sacrifice, and the struggle between good and evil. It's a story that has resonated with the Maya for centuries, shaping their worldview and their understanding of their place in the cosmos. These prophecies, often misinterpreted, have led many to believe that the Maya believed the world would end on December 21, 2012. This date, which marked the end of the long count calendar cycle, was erroneously taken to mean the end of the world. But in reality, the Maya saw this as a time of renewal and rebirth. This misunderstanding highlights both the fascination and the frequent misinterpretations surrounding Maya culture. A numbering system based on 20. These fundamental tools were the building blocks of Maya literacy and numeracy. Through these systems, the Maya could record observations, track agricultural cycles, and calculate the movements of celestial bodies. In fact, their observation of comets led to one of the most intriguing chapters in their history. 2 is in the tens, 3 in the hundreds, and so on, was so precise that when the comet did return, it confirmed their calculations. This wasn't just a scientific triumph. It was a testament to their deep understanding of their universe. But their story doesn't end there. Their understanding of astronomy didn't. It led them to develop one of the most sophisticated calendar systems in the ancient world. Now close your eyes and picture the bar and dot notation, a shell symbol for 0, dots for 1s, bars for 5s, the tzolk'in or count of days and the hab or count of years. The tzolk'in consisted of 260 days and had 20 day names and 13 numbers. Each day had a unique name and was associated with specific deities and events. This calendar was used for religious ceremonies and divination. On the other hand, the hab was a solar calendar of 365 days divided into 18 months of 20 days, each with a 5-day period at the end. This calendar aligned closely with the solar year and was used for agricultural planning and civic activities. But the true complexity of the Maya calendar emerges when we consider the long count calendar. These glyphs map the long count calendar cycles of 394 years, marking cosmic anniversaries. But it gets even more intricate. The Dresden Codex, a priceless artifact. It also served as a linear count of days starting from a mythical creation date. The long count calendar is what the Maya were most renowned for. But it wasn't a standalone system. It was a layer of complexity added to the Hob and Tzolk'in, making the entire system incredibly intricate. This meant that every 52 years, the Maya had a new year zero, which puzzled many early chroniclers who assumed that the Maya did not believe in a year zero. Details the conversion of these symbols into a base 20 system. Now that's not your typical counting method. But let's start from the beginning, shall we? Your paintbrush, dipped in cochineal red, draws the shell for 0, then 3 dots for units. Each stroke is precise, each curve imbued with sacred significance. The calendar governed everything: planting festivals, royal births, the return of celestial bodies. A miscalculation could unleash famine, or so they believed. This wasn't just a number system. It was the heartbeat of society, a framework that organized life, death, and everything in between. The Maya understood cycles, not just in their calendar, but in nature, too. They kept meticulous records of agricultural cycles, animal migrations, and astronomical phenomena. Their observations, coupled with their mathematical prowess, allowed them to predict eclipses with uncanny accuracy. Even today, scientists rely on repeating patterns. In the vastness of space, the Maya saw order, not chaos, and in that order, they found their place in the grand tapestry of the cosmos. Picture this: you are standing before a towering pyramid, its steps worn smooth by millennia of feet. Sunlight glints off something carved into the stone, a sequence of dots and bars that seem like a cryptic code. What if I told you it's numbers, not just any numbers, but Maya numbers? It is an ancient math system that once decoded reveals the brilliance of a civilization that thrived in what is now Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and parts of Honduras and El Salvador. The Maya were a Mesoamerican civilization noted for their impressive calendar system and mathematical calculations, including their understanding of 0. Now, settle your mind into numbers, ancient numbers carved in stone. The Maya developed 0 centuries before most civilizations, a concept as revolutionary as fire. The Maya developed a place value system. Imagine yourself in the scriptorium, a humble artisan painting a new date on temple steps. Numbers weren't just for record keeping or trade. The Maya accurately predicted the return of a comet that had appeared in 758 AD. Their prediction, based on meticulous record keeping, the Maya developed 2 primary calendars. This calendar tracked longer cycles such as the 260-day Tzolk'in and the 365-day Hob. But the Maya did more than just keep time. In essence, the Maya used mathematics and calendars to understand their world and their place within it. One of the most compelling aspects of Maya culture is their creation story as recorded in the Popolvuh. Now let's discuss the Maya's societal structure. The Maya had a strong emphasis on education and intellectual pursuits. Religion played a central role in Maya life. Now let's talk about the collapse of the classic Maya civilization. The post-classic Maya refers to the period of Maya history after the decline of the classic Maya civilization. During this time, the Maya regrouped and reorganized. The legacy of the Maya civilization continues to be felt today. As we bring this episode to a close, I hope this story finds you well. Turn your attention now to the intimate rituals of blood sacrifice. Priests pierced their tongues or the king's earlobes with stingray spines, offering droplets of blood to the gods. The vision serpent is born from the smoke curling from the sacrifice. It emerges to receive the life essence of the victim and carries it back to the divine realm. Imagine the slick glint of red and green jade, then reaches out to take the corn snake in his hands. The serpent is cold and sleek, its scales smooth against his palms. As the priest holds the snake aloft, its head rises, revealing the glistening red jewel embedded in its forehead. It shimmers like a captured flame, pulsing faintly with a light of its own. Closing his eyes, the young priest listens intently, and in the sudden silence of the chamber, he hears the voice of the serpent. They are the Halak eunuch, the Maya priests, their bodies adorned with intricate tattoos that tell stories of ancient wisdom. From the depths of the cenote, something stirs, drawn by the scent of blood. Something ancient and powerful. A giant black and white corn snake, the Balaam, rises to the surface, its scales glistening like polished obsidian. They carry with them the blessings of the gods, the strength to endure, the wisdom to guide, and the courage to heal. The ceremony over, they return to their lives, knowing that they are part of something greater, that their actions have ensured the continued harmony of the universe. It slithers onto the bank, its presence filling the space between the priests and the altar, a story that whispers across the ages, inviting us to marvel at the mysteries of our past and the enduring power of faith. The Balaam, the priest and the snake become one in a sacred union of man and nature. The jaguar priest places a hand on the snake's head and closes his eyes, and in that moment, the connection is made. The priest is granted a vision, a glimpse into the hidden realms, where time flows differently and the spirits of the ancestors roam. One of them, the toucan Balaam, the jaguar priest, is the leader of the group. His face is painted with the symbols of the night sky, his eyes burning with spiritual intensity. The others are no less devout, their movements precise and purposeful as they carry out the sacred rites. First, the priests make offerings to the gods, pouring fragments of copal incense onto the waiting flames. The smoke rises, carrying their prayers into the heavens. Then comes the ritual of bloodletting. With a sharp obsidian blade, they pierce their skin, drawing blood, which they collect in a clay bowl. It is a sacrifice to appease the gods, a reminder of the fragility of human life and the cyclical nature of existence. It is a whisper, ancient and knowing, speaking of hidden dangers and ancient prophecies. But beneath the warnings, there is also a sense of hope, a promise of enlightenment, the knowledge to guide his people through the challenges that lie ahead. The ceremony continues with songs and dances, with prayers and offerings. The community participates, their voices rising in unison, their bodies swaying in rhythm with the drums. The atmosphere crackles with energy as the veil between the physical and spiritual worlds grows thin. The jaguar priest leads the way, channeling the power of the snake, ensuring the balance of the cosmos. When the priest opens his eyes, they are filled with newfound determination. He understands that he is not merely a witness, but a participant in a timeless cycle of death and rebirth, of sacrifice and renewal. The serpent's message is clear. The fate of the world hangs in the balance, and it is up to him to heed the call of the gods. Taking a deep breath, the priest prepares to act. The metallic tang against your tongue. The jungle temple, a place where the green embrace of nature meets the timeless wisdom of tradition, stands as a testament to the enduring human spirit. Here, where the air hums with unseen energy, the boundaries of reality seem to blur, giving way to a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of all things, leaving behind only the lingering scent of incense and blood. This is a true story of a ritual that actually happened. You are standing before an altar inside a dimly lit temple somewhere deep in the jungle. For generations, the Maya people have revered this cenote as a sacred place, a gateway to the underworld, home to powerful deities. Every year during the summer solstice, the Mayans gather here to perform a secret ceremony, one that has been passed down through millennia, whispered from one generation to the next. It is a ritual of bloodletting, a communion with the gods that ensures the balance of life, death, and rebirth. Torches flicker, casting dancing shadows on the walls adorned with ancient murals depicting gods, with the bodies of jaguars and serpents and human faces. Before you on a stone table rests a tray holding a sharp obsidian blade and a small bowl filled with fragrant copal incense. A rhythmic chant echoes through the chamber, drawing your gaze to a figure kneeling at the far end of the altar. It is the high priest, his face obscured by a feathered headdress. He is piercing his tongue with the razor-sharp blade, causing a thin trickle of blood to run down his chin. His hands are raised in supplication to the unseen gods. In the flickering torchlight, his body is painted with patterns of white and blue Maya tattoos, each stroke a symbol of power and devotion. Beside him coils a large black and white corn snake, its tongue flicking in and out, tasting the air. Suddenly the priest brings his bloody hand to his mouth and swallows a few drops of blood. With a final shuddering breath, he throws his head back and lets out a piercing whistle. At that moment, the serpent strikes. Darting forward, it snatches the droplets of blood from his chin and disappears into the darkness. As the assembly disperses, the priest wipes the cut on his tongue with a reverent cloth, dabbing at the corners of his mouth to catch the last of the blood. It feels as if something ancient has awakened within him, a power both terrifying and exhilarating. He knows that now he is marked, set apart, forever changed by his communion with the divine. And so the priest walks away from the temple, head held high, carrying the weight of his new purpose in his heart. The low chant that rises, a shared heartbeat with the invisible world. Suddenly, in the throat of the sacrificed comes a vision serpent. He sees a great feathered snake uncoiling from the smoke, its scales like polished obsidian, shimmering in the torchlight. Slowly it takes shape, rising up to accept the life essence offered by the sacrificial cut. It is a moment of intense vulnerability, the breath held by all present as the priest leans into the cobra, opening his mouth wide to receive the serpent within. Then the first drop falls, hitting the tip of the priest's tongue. coiling around it like a miniature galaxy of blood and fire. The taste of sacrifice, copper and iron floods his mouth, mingles with the spit and smoke on his lips. With a shuddering inhale, he swallows the blood, letting it run hot down his throat. Each heartbeat echoes the pulse of the unseen god as the sacrifice is made whole again. The serpent, sated, dissolves back into the smoke. Now close your eyes and picture this scene. From the shadows at the back of the chamber, a second priest steps forward, his face bare and youthful. He approaches the edge of the altar hesitantly. In the sacred realm where the veil between worlds is thinnest, the serpent priest communes with the divine. And here's a bonus for you. Deep in the Yucatan jungle, nestled amidst ancient ruins, lies a hidden cenote, a natural sinkhole filled with crystal clear water. As the sun climbs to its zenith, bathing the earth in golden light, a group of men enter the cenote. But it is what happens next that sets this ritual apart. When he opens his eyes, they are filled with awe and understanding. He has received the blessing of the gods. As the day draws to a close, the participants emerge from the cenote transformed. So it goes. The ancient ritual of blood sacrifice and communion with the gods, a timeless testament to the enduring human spirit. This is an ancient Maya site in the Yucatan. These structures are called stelae. In the 1950s and 60s, archaeologists uncovered traces of murals that snake across the inside walls of some of these buildings. They reign not as famous as the great fresco cycle at Teotihuacan or as well preserved as the wall paintings at Pompeii. But what makes them extraordinary is that they offer a visual parallel to the hieroglyphic texts found carved into the stelae. They found these great works of art already buried beneath centuries of debris. It was only in the 1950s and 60s that archaeologists began to carefully clear away the mud and vegetation covering the buildings. One of the most spectacular discoveries was this mural, allowing us to explore how the Maya used pictures to convey meaning and telling us something about their understanding of writing. And they're about to enter the underworld, the home of the gods, where they will transform into jaguars. But it appears to show two characters involved in astronomy. One of them sits in a chair while the other uses a plumb bob to measure the angle of a star. Plumb bobs are just weights suspended from a string. They help us measure angles. They stand behind shields emblazoned with the head of a jaguar, the sacred animal of the Maya kings. It's hard to know what's important and what isn't. Are we supposed to focus on the king? What about the Kukulkanak? Is he the most important character? Or is he just an aide helping the king get ready for the ceremony? The generals on either side of him also wear distinctive styles of clothing. Take a close look at the platform on which the king is seated. Do you notice the strange design carved there? The sign for water consists of two parts. One part is a house, which represents land. Take, for example, the glyph Bach. Look familiar? Even though we can read the hieroglyphs carved into the stelae, the murals served as a kind of redundancy. First, the artisans ground up various minerals and mixed them with a sap called zocoatl, or tree sap. They then diluted this mixture with water and applied it to the walls using brushes made from split bird feathers. They worked by torchlight in cramped chambers, and the result was breathtaking. Remember to hit that subscribe button to get notified about our latest videos. Thanks to our supporters, who make videos like this one possible. And a big thank you to one supporter for asking this question in our community tab. They told the same stories and conveyed the same messages in a visual format that everyone could understand. You guessed it, it's a picture of a backstrap loom used for weaving cloth. So this is a rare case where the glyph is still pictorial. But it's important to remember that not everyone could read and write hieroglyphs. So when the Maya made pictures, they weren't making abstract art. Starting around the year 600 AD and ending sometime after the collapse of the classic Maya civilization in the 9th century. Remember that these amazing people didn't just build pyramids. They were also skilled mathematicians, astronomers, and artists. They worked in stages, often covering over older paintings with newer ones. Sometimes they even reused the same canvases, applying new images to the same surface. Because they painted by torchlight in poorly ventilated rooms, the fumes from the acetyl sap often made them sick. But they were incredibly patient, working in some cases over a surface for nearly a decade before finishing their masterpiece. They were making communication. The other part is a river, which represents, well, water. Together, they form the glyph wa, ken, which we can pronounce as wa, ken. That's how the Maya represented the concept of water with a picture of a house beside a river. They turned the river into a pictograph, just like we use a pictograph of a heart to represent the concept of love. These are actually hieroglyphs. They read, "He became king on earth." The inscription combines a phonetic word, a jaw, which means lord or king, with a logogram of a seated ruler. In other words, this phrase explains what all of these other images in the mural are there to celebrate. We call them the old soldier and the young soldier. One of them holds a net while the other uses a hook to snag fish. The central motif in this mural is the river itself. Water is one of the most important elements in Maya culture. They associated it with fertility, life, and death. And rivers in particular had a special significance because they connected the realm of the living with the realm of the dead. The Maya believed that souls traveled along rivers on their journey to the afterlife. So the ability to control those waterways gave the kings a special kind of power. The old soldier wears a white loincloth and a red sash across his chest. The young soldier wears a blue loincloth and a green sash. Many signs aren't based on pictures at all. They're just abstract symbols that the Maya memorized and learned to read. For example, the glyph ka. Kai doesn't look anything like corn, does it? It's just an abstract symbol that the Maya learned to associate with the word corn. But that's what happens when a writing system gets more complex. At some point, the pictures become too cumbersome and you have to replace them with symbols that are easier to write and remember. Scholars have pointed out that these colors, white, red, blue, and green, are the same ones used to paint the faces of the four directional gods. Could this mean that the old soldier represents the east and the young soldier represents the west? Maybe, but we don't know for sure. Unfortunately, we can't say for sure because there's no text to tell us. And behind them are two scribes who keep records of the ceremony. We can compare it to a nearby stele called the Crosby Tablet, which records the accession to the throne of the very same king. It describes how he succeeded his father, Kayanich Janab Pakal, and went on to defeat the neighboring kingdom of Kankuan. It even describes the date of the accession, December 2nd, 641 AD, so we know who's being crowned in the mural. We also know that the king's father died during a battle with the kingdom of Kankuan, so it makes sense that the mural depicts the king wearing his war regalia, including the shield with the jaguar head. Jaguars symbolize courage and strength in battle, and if anyone needed those qualities, it was the Maya kings, who spent much of their time waging war with neighboring kingdoms. Behind the entire group are two censer bearers who burn copal incense, but they don't work very well when there's wind. So to get an accurate reading, you'd need to find a sheltered spot, like inside a cave. And that's exactly what these guys are doing. They've set up shop inside a cave in order to track the position of a star. In other words, they're undergoing the ritual transformation that turns ordinary human beings into powerful, fearsome warriors. It shows two astronomers measuring the shadow cast by a star. The newly enthroned monarch sits on a raised platform. He wears the elaborate headdress of royalty and a necklace made from jade beads. His hands are placed on a large macaw, which symbolizes his connection to the feathered serpent god, the supreme deity in Maya mythology. The man on the right uses a plummet, just like the guy in the painting, while the man on the left uses a simple wooden stick. The plummets would have been more accurate, but they were also more expensive, so if you were really pinching pennies, you could get by with just a stick. The fact that they're carrying out this ritual together, side by side, suggests that they're also united by a special kind of brotherhood. In front of him stands a figure that scholars call the kukulkanak, which literally means bell skirt. They think the bell skirt refers to a type of garment worn by priests, but it might also be a title. Either way, this individual holds a staff with a circular ornament at the top, and he's the one who crowns the king with a tall white headdress, the emblem of kingship. All three of them wearing the same elaborate headdress. If we turn it sideways, we see that the three figures form a triangle. Now triangles are pretty common motifs in Maya art, especially when it comes to architecture. But they also have astronomical associations. The Maya associated the North Star, which they called the house of the celestial beings, with the Pleiades star cluster. They saw the three brightest stars as forming a triangle, just like the rulers in this painting. So this mural may also be conveying the idea that the dynasty is divinely ordained, that their power comes directly from the heavens themselves. This style of headdress is a dead giveaway that they represent a single dynasty. Can you name that dynasty? Pause the video here if you want to make a guess. In the center is Pakal the Great, one of the most famous rulers in Maya history, whose reign lasted from 615 to 683 AD. On his right is his father, Yuknum Tuk, and on his left is his son, Kayanich Janab Pakal. This is rare for the Maya to depict three generations of rulers together like this, and it suggests that they wanted to emphasize the continuity and legitimacy of their rule. They were erected around 600 AD, and they're not just monuments to the rulers who commissioned them. 6 young nobles walk side by side. Again, They're all wearing the same type of elaborate headdress, so they probably all belong to the same royal house. There are no kings here, only princes, and yet the sixth prince is shown carrying the emblem of royalty, the royal insignia known as the Mac, which looks like a pair of crossed sticks with a bar connecting them, where we bring you new episodes every week exploring the ancient world. If you love anything to do with archaeology, history, religion, or mythology, be sure to subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss an upload. They're also time capsules that preserve a snapshot of Maya culture at a particular moment in history. They tell us about the ruling dynasties and their genealogical connections to earlier rulers. They record the dates of accession to the throne and even describe the military victories of some rulers. But they also tell us about the mythology that the Maya believed undergirded their world. You can see this ruler here holding a shield emblazoned with the head of a jaguar. Or you can see this one here holding a serpent in his hand. These are not just symbols or decorative motifs. They're meaningful emblems that connect these rulers to the supernatural forces that permeated Maya cosmology. These stelae have been extensively studied, but there's another kind of record found here that has received relatively little attention. In this video, we're going to walk now through the corridors of Palenque's murals. We'll look at the vibrant scenes of royal processions, celestial events, and mythic heroes painted there by the Maya. And we'll examine how the murals complement and sometimes challenge what we learn from the hieroglyphic texts. Welcome to this channel. When the Spanish conquistadors arrived in the 16th century, the artist depicts three kings in a procession. But there's another way to understand this mural. The structure containing this mural also has a second chamber decorated with paintings. Here we see a different kind of procession. At first glance, this may seem strange, but there's an explanation. Two of these 6 young men are identical twins. This mural has suffered from centuries of erosion. What makes this so interesting is that we find a similar scene carved into one of the nearby stelae. The next room contains a massive fresco over 50 feet long depicting a number of overlapping scenes. The main one is the coronation of a king. The king isn't the only person on this platform, though. To either side of the king are 2 generals, one on each side. The main problem with interpreting this mural is that there are so many characters, so much going on. That said, the mural doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's not just the king who gets to wear cool outfits in this fresco. There's one more detail that I want to point out. The final mural we'll look at today shows 2 figures crossing a river in a canoe. In fact, you can see this mural as a visual representation of a hieroglyphic sign. Of course, not everything in a hieroglyphic system is pictorial. Even so, the Maya continued to use pictures alongside their hieroglyphs. And that's true for the murals as well. Now, if you're wondering how the Maya painted these incredible murals, here's how they did it. The Maya produced these murals over a period of several hundred years. So the next time you watch a movie about the ancient Maya, thanks for watching. This is a new episode from the series Trade Routes. If you like stories like this, please support us because we release new episodes every week. Messengers from Copan have come with sacks of cacao beans, the currency of kings. The languages swirl around you, Nahuatl and Cholan and Puc dialects. You hear bartering in Nahuatl, the language of the Mexica, the Triple Alliance, who rule this great city. One of them has an ornate staff topped with a snarling jaguar's head. Perhaps he is a lord returning home after a long journey. When they reach the docks, you can watch them board their ship and sail away to the west, carrying with them whatever treasures they bought in the great market. Where are they from? You couldn't say. Some of them look tired, their bodies gaunt, their eyes vacant, and the women serve it all on pottery bowls and plates. You think about the people who made those bowls and plates. They lived in a small village where the mountains met the jungle. They had to pay tribute to the lords, and so they made these crude bowls and sent them on their way. You wonder what they'll make next. You and your fellow travelers bathe in the running water and wash the dirt from your body. After dinner, you gather round the fire. A traveling musician plays a wooden flute, and you sway and dance to the music. Laughter rings out. You've saved enough money, and you've found a girl who pleases you. She is small and graceful, her hair shining black. Her skin is smooth and unblemished, her eyes shining like obsidian. You think she might be a good wife. You ask her father for her hand, and he agrees to the match. The 2 of you will live together in a small house. You'll have children, and they will grow up speaking the language of the marketplace. The flute player strikes up a lively tune, and everyone joins in. They dance and sing until the fire dies down, and the moon replaces the sun. What kind of treasures will they form from clay? The sky is clear, and the jungle is still. The road stretches endlessly before you. You and your companions begin walking. Soon, You'll reach the end of this journey. Along the road, the jungle presses close, hiding what lies ahead. Beyond the trees, kings rise and fall, empires flourish and wither. But the road remains, connecting all the cities of Mesoamerica. The road has no beginning and no end. The road is everything. Soon you'll be back in the bustling city. And then you can trade the obsidian for cacao. Slaves are treated well here, better than in many households. Still, you wouldn't trade places with them. Not for all the cacao beans in the world. Slavery is a fate worse than death. Few ships come this far into the interior. Those that do usually come from the coast of the Anahuac, the salt waters where the sun is born. They want to be anywhere but here, listening to old tales. The sky above is the same deep blue as the butterfly's wings. Maybe butterflies really can speak to humans. Maybe they bring messages from the gods, the first ones who dared venture into the thick green wilderness. How did they find their way? How did they keep safe from the wild animals and the hostile tribes? You hurry on ahead to get out of the oppressive heat. The fire has died during the night, but the sky is clear and the day is warm. You eat breakfast with your companions. After filling your belly, you set out down the road again. The night grows colder and you huddle closer to the fire. The flames rise and fall, dancing in the darkness. You feel safe here by the fire with your companions. No jaguar is going to sneak up and carry you off. No poisonous snakes are going to slither up your leg. You'd rather be here than on the road alone in the dark. From there, they bring back shells and beads and strange trinkets made from bone and copper. But sometimes, very rarely, a ship arrives from across the sea, bringing with it all manner of wondrous things. These obsidian blades were made by the skilled artisans of the volcanic region north of Lake Texcoco. This last ship, though, came from the far side of the sea, from a world you can hardly imagine. You join your fellow workers in front of the temple of the feathered serpent. You hear the familiar calls of the traders, the shouts of the porters. The sounds of the city fade as you follow the road. The road is rough, the ground uneven. The litters bump and sway, but the slaves carrying them keep pace with sure-footed calm. You walk alongside the road, keeping step with the others. Soon you'll reach the first rest stop. There your master will set up camp and spend the night. Before leaving, you must pay your respects to Quetzalcoatl, the plumed snake god. You walk behind the priest as he sprinkles holy water and beats his ceremonial drum. You cross the courtyard and enter the temple. Inside, the air is heavy with incense. You kneel before the altar. The image of the feathered serpent seems to writhe in the flickering torchlight. The priest chants in an unknown tongue. Above, the painted serpent watches impassively from atop the temple's pyramid. As you stand watching the ship cast off, a butterfly alights on your shoulder. Its wings are brilliant blue, the color of the sky. You brush it away, but it comes back and alights again. It seems friendly, unafraid. You reach out and stroke its wing. It doesn't fly away. Do butterflies ever speak to humans? You wonder if maybe this one does. They've traveled for weeks to get here, following the road that leads down from the high plateau. Here it is, this great treasure. The obsidian, the hard, dark glass formed from ancient lava flows. It is so sharp that even a king would flinch if he were to run his finger across its edge. And this razor sharpness makes the obsidian extremely valuable. The obsidian will be traded for cacao, the precious bean. The road between these two cities is ancient, little more than a worn track through the jungle. Yet along this road empires meet. You are here at the edge of the city, where caravans assemble. Traders from Teotihuacan have arrived, bearing obsidian blades. Here in the great market, merchants from all over Mesoamerica come to buy and sell. Your job today is simple. You are to help unload the litters being carried by slaves. Your fellow workers hurry up and down the rows of stalls, dodging between piles of cacao pods and bags of maize and bundles of cotton. They call out prices and haggle over goods. You dodge past a pair of merchants arguing over a load of mats. They're coarse and scratchy, not fit to trade for anything except perhaps a few chickens or a young slave. You see a pair of men unloading a litter with hundreds of bright red feathers. These may have been used as decorations for noblemen in some far-off court. Their owner is trying to sell them, but no one seems interested. A merchant walks by shaking his head. He tells his companion that feathers aren't worth the trouble. There are plenty of birds in their own lands. They don't need feathers from another place. A group of foreigners are passing through the market, heading toward the docks where their ship waits. They're going back out to sea again. You've heard rumors of soldiers and horses and dogs, but most of those ships came from far to the south, from the land of the Maya. The caravan is ready to depart. When you leave the temple, you know it's time to go. You rejoin your companions, You watch the slaves unload the litters and pitch the master's tent. You notice how patiently the slaves follow orders. After the camp is set, you sit down to eat. The cooks have prepared beans and squash and tortillas. As the fire crackles, you tell stories to pass the time. Some of the merchants listen, but they seem bored. You wake to the sound of birds. The jungle comes alive with chattering and squawking. You rub the sleep from your eyes and yawn. You walk until midday when the sun is high overhead and the jungle seems endless. You think about the travelers who came before you. You stop for the night near a stream. You wake and stretch out in the morning light. And now, finally, you can buy a wife. But for now, the road stretches endlessly before you. You keep walking. The road never ends. The road is everywhere. Now the sky darkens. You stand on the dry plaza of the 9 temples, dust swirling at your ankles. For decades, rains have failed. Reservoirs shrink. The once verdant fields crack. Atop the highest pyramid, you glimpse abandoned rooftops. Homes are empty. Crops have withered. The war drums sound. For 5 years, rival warlords have contested these lands, each vying for the precious water, the lifeblood of this thirsty kingdom. It would last for decades and encompass much of Eurasia, killing millions, ending empires and changing the world forever. But now the soil is cracked and the crops have withered. You join thousands of others answering the king's call. With pickaxe in hand, you race against the clock to build irrigation channels to water next season's crops. Once renowned for its cosmopolitan cities, it now resembles its more famous neighbors. Where once merchants plied their trade, bandits roam. Where farmers toiled in the fields, refugees huddle around campfires. Its proud king is dead. Its once magnificent capital lies in ruins. The great collapse has swept through Persia like a tsunami. And yet life goes on. Smoke curls from the smoldering palaces of those who lost. But his father insists on moving on. A mother shushes her crying child, pointing to a nearby farmhouse. Maybe they can help. Another refugee warns that the farmhouse is a trap. Bandits lie in wait inside, preying on the exhausted and the hungry. A group of young men plot to steal water from a passing merchant. An old man warns them that stealing is wrong. Famine-stricken villages dot the landscape. Wagons laden with possessions sit abandoned alongside the road. Corpses lie where they fell, victims of the unforgiving sun and dust storms. In the south, the drought continues unabated. Rumors of salvation turn to whispers of despair. Talk of a great king is replaced by tales of suffering. Some refugees never reach their destination. They die of starvation or exposure. Those who do arrive find little to celebrate. The promised land is often a mirage. Some refugees die anyway, succumbing to disease or violence. But they pay him no heed. Will they find a better life in the north, or will they, too, be lost to the great collapse? Only time will tell. Innocent eyes gazing up at a sky that has not seen rain in their lifetimes. An old woman kneels beside a shallow grave. A young girl shares her doll with a refugee child. Where the streets are paved with gold and the houses with precious stones. Others speak of a legendary king who will lead them to a land of plenty. A mysterious healer draws crowds wherever he goes, promising to cure the sick and the dying. A priest gives them food and shelter for the night. But these moments of humanity are rare. Most people cling fiercely to what little they have and will not part with it easily. A traveler separated from his group stumbles into a bandit camp. His pleas for mercy are ignored. They strip him, beat him, and leave him for dead. He has established a new kingdom free from the drought and famine of the south. Many refugees decide to turn back and seek their fortune under Kumarayiva, laden with ripe fruit and vegetables. The streets teem with shoppers, many bearing fine clothes and jewelry. The king greets the newcomers with open arms, offering them land and a chance for a new life. Hope flickers in their eyes as they make their way to the fabled city. A mother and her children beg for food outside a walled city. The gate guards hurl stones at them and drive them away. A father sells his daughter into slavery so that his sons can eat, her gnarled hands clutching a handful of dust. Her grandson buries his face in her shawl, tears mixing with the grime. A young mother cradles her babe, whispering tales of a bountiful land that lies beyond the horizon. A group of pilgrims stumbles along a dusty road. Their destination, a legendary mountain meadow said to be filled with water and milk. An old man limps ahead, his eyes fixed on the hazy mountains in the distance. He has walked this road many times, seeking the mythical paradise. Though he knows the way, the path is fraught with peril. Bandits lie in wait along the roadside, preying on the desperate and the weak. Travelers must fight to defend their meager possessions. When night falls, refugees huddle together for safety, sharing meager rations and weaving tales of heroism and hope around a flickering fire. forcing families off their farms and into the cities. The Roman Emperor Diocletian divides the empire into eastern and western halves. New walled cities spring up across Europe. Young lovers fleeing the drought cling to each other for support. A small boy walks behind his mother, clutching a chicken and a sack of grain. She turns and smiles, her eyes shining with pride. Her son is helping the family survive. Asia and Africa as people flee the countryside for the security of urban walls. By 313, Emperor Constantine legalizes Christianity, which spreads rapidly through a traumatized populace. And in China, the Han dynasty collapses and is replaced by a series of short-lived states. In the vacuum of power, warlords battle for supremacy. By 280, the first kingdom of the Three Kingdoms period emerges. Soon two more will rise, splitting the empire into three. There, too many people compete for too few jobs and the hungry turn to banditry. Along the Atlantic coast, the mighty Roman Empire faces scorching summers and failing harvests. People flee the countryside for the cities. Ancient Rome experiences a population explosion. Famine and plague follow close behind. Unlike today's warming, which began in the Industrial Revolution, this period of higher temperatures began more than a millennium ago. The long drought in Cushion lands may be part of this shift, but other forces are also at play. Decades of overgrazing and poor farming practices have turned fertile fields to desert. As farmers dig deeper wells to reach the water table, their fields become salinated and even more useless. Climate change has pushed this proud empire to the edge. Families emerge, their faces grim, their bundles packed tight. They trail clouds of dust behind them like mourners at an endless funeral. Day after day, they head into the unknown, joining the swelling tide of refugees. Some seek new homes among distant mountain folk rumored to have water to spare. The network of trade routes that wove together the Roman, Chinese, and Indian worlds. Their capital, Purashapura, sits at the crossroads of empires. Here merchants peddling Chinese silk and Indian spices mingle with soldiers, diplomats, and missionaries. Travelers recount wonders from distant realms, and newcomers bring exotic foods, goods, and ideas. This cosmopolitan city throbs with life until one evening when riders thunder into town. They bring a message from the king. All able-bodied men are summoned to the fields to dig irrigation ditches. Rain has failed for 4 years running and the reservoirs are low. If the fields are not prepared now, people will go hungry when the rains return. Others flee to great cities where crowded streets and overflowing sewers promise disease, but also safety. Still others press on, walking into the heart of the dying kingdom, drawn by rumors of salvation. What brought this ancient realm to its knees? Was it a warming world that brought drought and famine? Did internal squabbles doom this civilization? Or were faraway disruptions to trade the death knell? Centuries later, scholars still debate. But here among the silent stones, there are no easy answers. Famines and migrations that reshaped civilizations around the world between 250 and 400 CE. It was a time when empires toppled, entire societies vanished, and the course of history shifted. But why? And how did the story start? This is the Great Collapse, the unprecedented series of droughts. Our tale begins with an empire, the Kushan, who thrived along the Silk Road. Across the empire, farmers abandoned their crops, dropped their tools, and followed the king's call. The Great Collapse had begun. At first, the drought seems random. In fact, it is part of a natural climate shift known as the medieval warm period. You're playing the role of an average Kushan farmer in the year 250 CE. Your family has farmed this land for generations. Meanwhile, across the Eurasian landmass, similar scenes play out in equally dramatic fashion. The Han dynasty in China suffers a severe drought. By 284 CE, all is changed. In the face of such massive changes, the Kushan Empire seems less significant, yet it too has been transformed. Among the refugees are children born in the midst of the drought. These stories help them endure the hardships of the road. But the journey is a dangerous one. For some, the journey is a test of loyalty and love. A son helps his aging father walk. A sister carries water for her brother. As you trudge along, you hear voices raised in anger. A father and son argue. The boy wants to stop and beg. Some refugees find kindness along the way. A farmer offers them water from his well. Amidst such hardship, rumors spread like wildfire. Some refugees speak of a great city untouched by the drought. One day, travelers arrive from the east bearing tales of a great leader named Kumarayeva. As the refugees trek across the ravaged landscape, you glimpse the true cost of the Great Collapse. Fields are abandoned, livestock left to wander. Those who made the journey north are ecstatic. The city is everything the travelers promised and more. Fields stretch as far as the eye can see, but not all are so fortunate. As you watch the last of the refugees disappear into the distance, you wonder about their fate. For centuries, much of the world believed the classic Maya civilization had vanished without a trace. When explorers returned from their journeys across the Yucatan, they brought tales of towering pyramids overgrown by jungle and littered with statues of bearded kings. But they found no living Maya to ask how or why this great city was abandoned. The Spanish crown had declared the Maya a savage race who spoke an unintelligible tongue. And so for many years, the narrative went, they had disappeared. But they did nothing of the sort. His eyes lock onto yours and he gestures for you to come forward. Do you accept his invitation? Of course you do. Now, as the light begins to fade, casting long shadows through the trees, you arrive at your destination. It is here, deep in the heart of the jungle, that you will spend the night. Your guide, Juan, helps you pitch your tent near a gushing waterfall and soon you settle in for the evening. You share stories around a crackling fire as the stars begin to appear overhead. The rhythmic thud of the chisel against the wood echoes through the space as he brings the mask to life. Their deep connection to the land and their commitment to preserving their cultural heritage is truly inspiring. You return to the tent feeling fulfilled, knowing that you have gained a deeper understanding of the Mayan way of life. Intricate details emerge, capturing the essence of the Mayan gods and legends. You chat with the artist. You and Juan decide to venture out to see a nearby cave. You notice strange formations of stalactites and stalagmites that have taken hundreds of years to form. Each twist and turn reveals a new marvel, leaving you in awe of the power of nature. The next morning, you and Juan pack up your things and prepare to say goodbye to the jungle. Legend has it that the cave is home to a mystical underground river, and you are eager to witness this natural wonder for yourself. Juan leads you to a small market where you have the opportunity to purchase handcrafted goods made by the local artisans. You browse through colorful textiles, intricately carved masks, and other unique items. You remember the vibrant colors, the ancient ruins, and the faces of the people you have met. The spirit of adventure continues to burn brightly, urging you to explore further, to seek out new experiences, and to embrace the unknown, knowing that you are supporting the local economy and taking home a piece of the culture you have experienced firsthand. You feel a sense of gratitude for the time you spent here, the knowledge you gained and the memories you created, the beauty of their traditions and the magic of the jungle. You know that this journey has been more than just a trip. It has been a profound experience that has touched your soul. Learning about his inspiration and the cultural significance of his craft. Years pass, yet the essence of the journey endures. The wisdom gained on the path continues to guide you. And though the physical journey may have ended, the transformative power of the experience remains a cherished part of your story. And when it is time for bed, you feel a sense of peace settle over you. You walk back along the river, its presence a constant companion. As you make camp for the night, the lessons learned on the path echo in your heart. You approach challenges with a warrior's mindset, seeking balance and wisdom. The laughter and camaraderie of the journey remain, a reminder of the joy found in shared experiences. You share stories with Juan about your experiences during the day. You discuss the cultural significance of the cave and the legends that surround it. Here, surrounded by the sounds of the jungle, lulled by the gentle breeze rustling through the leaves, you fall asleep with a smile on your face, dreaming of the adventures that lie ahead. Suddenly, the tunnel opens up into a vast cavern, and there before you lies a shimmering underground river, its waters reflecting the soft glow of your headlamp. The sight is breathtaking, otherworldly, as if you have stumbled upon a secret known only to a few. Slowly, he teaches you some of the dance steps, guiding your limbs into position, listening to the gentle flow of the water and the chorus of crickets chirping in the distance. You feel a sense of tranquility settle over you, a feeling of being utterly connected to the natural world. You stumble at first, awkward and unsure, but soon you feel a smile spreading across your face. As the music swells and the dancers twirl around you, you spin and jump and laugh, and as the sun climbs higher in the sky, you leave the clearing feeling invigorated, renewed, ready to discover more about the rich cultural heritage of this place. In 2023, descendants of the classic Maya still live in these lands. Farmers in thatched huts, artisans carving masks, priests reviving sacred dances. They kept their traditions alive through centuries of hardship. Eager to start a new day, after a hearty breakfast of fresh fruit and coffee, you set off to explore more of the surrounding area. You trek through the dense foliage, discovering hidden caves adorned with ancient Mayan glyphs. These mysterious markings tell stories of gods and kings, and you can almost feel their presence echoing through the ages. And today, we are here to experience a revival unlike any other. They welcome you with warm smiles, sharing tales of their daily lives and the challenges they face. Their nimble fingers fly across the looms, creating beautiful patterns and designs passed down through generations. You watch in awe as they effortlessly transform raw materials into stunning works of art. You learn about the importance of sustainable farming practices as they demonstrate how to cultivate the land without harming the delicate ecosystem. Finally, we step into the present. Here time seems suspended between ancient and modern. The pulsing heat of the midday sun filters through the leaves overhead. You adjust your backpack as you enter the clearing, stepping carefully over gnarled roots that twist across the ground. Here it feels as though the forest itself is sacred, and in a way it is. For centuries, people have come to these woods to tap into a spiritual energy that seems to flow from the earth itself. And now you will do as they did, walking slowly to the center of the circle. It is here that you will witness something magical. There are no tall pyramids or towering temples in sight, just a group of men beating drums in time to an ancient rhythm. Their movements are mesmerizing, hypnotic, and soon you find yourself swaying to the beat, feeling the vibrations reverberate through your chest. As the drummers build in intensity, you notice a man standing nearby. At first you think he is one of the musician's assistants, but then he begins to move. His body becomes a vessel through which the spirits can flow. Soon he is dancing, twisting and turning, reaching towards the sky, his arms windmilling overhead. He is possessed, utterly possessed, and you can feel the energy crackling between them all. Then suddenly, he turns to you. The journey continues. In the morning, after, you awake refreshed. As you journey deeper into the jungle, you encounter local farmers tending to their crops. As the day progresses, you stop at a village where a group of Mayan women are gathered, patiently weaving intricate textiles. Later, you visit an artisan workshop where a skilled craftsman is carving a wooden mask. By the end of the day, you are filled with admiration for the Mayan people and their resilience. When the full moon rises high above the tree line, as you make your way through the dark and narrow passage, the air grows heavy with moisture. You take a moment to soak in the serenity of the place as you continue your exploration of the cave. When it is time to return, and when you finally drift off to sleep, you dream of underground rivers and mystical Mayan caves. As you walk toward the entrance, you take one last look back. The towering trees seem to stand guard, protecting the secrets they hold close. Before you leave, as you depart, you carry with you the warmth of the Mayan people. Back home, the rhythm of city life may beckon, but the echoes of the drum still resonate within you. With renewed passion, you dive into your daily life. Time moves forward. Now, drift with me to the outskirts of Palenque, where stone aqueducts carry whisper-soft streams through the jungle. Picture yourself standing beside a tapered channel, water flowing over polished limestone slabs, its surface alive with sunlight dancing through overhanging ferns. The Maya engineered reservoirs, canals and check dams to capture every drop of the seasonal rains. In the rainy season, you'd watch as torrents filled terraced catchments, would have tasted sweet on your lips like honey or agave nectar. It was more than just a source of hydration. They were deeply entwined with the religious beliefs and daily life of the Maya. The pools and channels were not only sources of fresh water, they were also used for ritual purification. You dress in the finest cotton garments, donning the colors of the ruling dynasty. Your body is painted with the traditional Maya motifs, symbols of your heritage and status. Then you walk towards the Temple of the Inscriptions. It was essential not only for survival, but for their religious practices and social order. For the Maya, water was a gift from the gods, and they treated it with reverence and respect. Their waterworks, therefore, were more than just engineering marvels. They were expressions of their faith, their culture, and their intimate connection with the natural world. They believed that the pyramid itself was a stairway to the heavens, and the water running through it served to reinforce this divine connection. Each tier was designed not only as a place for ritualistic activity, but also as a vessel to contain and direct the flow of this sacred water. Where the king's palace is located, carrying a small offering of jade and chocolate, gazing up at the weathered stone steps that wind their way to the top, an underground waterway that played a pivotal role in the lives of the ancient Maya. The river, known locally as the Manati, was a vital source of fresh water in a region where rain was scarce and cenotes were few and far between. Armed with nothing but their ingenuity and a keen understanding of their environment, they delved deep into the porous limestone, creating a labyrinth of tunnels and chambers that allowed them to intercept the precious water as it flowed beneath the surface. On either side of you, The walls are adorned with intricate carvings depicting scenes from their mythology. Canals were constructed to divert water to the fields, ensuring that even in times of drought, their crops would flourish. The Maya farmers were not only skilled cultivators, but also astute water managers. They understood the importance of conserving and distributing water wisely, and the underground river was the cornerstone of their success. As the water flows beside you, you can feel the coolness of it on your skin, a welcome respite from the heat of the midday sun. You can almost hear the echoes of ancient chants and drums resonating through the ages. As the Maya priests conducted their rituals, became the lifeline of the Maya city. It supplied water for drinking, for cleaning, and for irrigating the crops that fed the growing population. For the Maya, water was more than just a resource. It was a gift from the gods, and they treated it with reverence and respect. But remnants of it can still be found in the form of wells and natural springs scattered throughout the city. When you stumble upon one of these hidden gems, take a moment to appreciate the legacy of the Maya. The underground river is a silent testament to their resourcefulness and their ability to thrive in a challenging environment. It's a reminder that water, in all its forms, has been the lifeblood of human civilization, and the Maya were among the first to understand its profound importance. The underground river was a tangible manifestation of this gift, and they built it with the same care and attention to detail that they lavished on their temples and palaces. It was a living, breathing entity, and the water that flowed through it was its lifeblood. They would have been acutely aware of the water as life-giving force coursing through the very structure they inhabited. It was a constant reminder of their bond with the natural world and the spiritual realm, but also their religious rituals and agricultural practices. Without water, their crops wouldn't grow, their livestock would perish, and their very survival would be threatened. So they turned to the earth itself to find a solution. With each step you ascend, you move closer to the heavens, symbolically and physically. For as you climb, you're also traversing the path that water takes as it journeys through the pyramid's hidden channels. In the rainy season, they captured the torrential downpours. Take a moment to appreciate the intricate water systems that sustain them. Its magnificence lies not in its towering height or imposing presence, but in the ingenious water system that courses through its heart. The step-stone reservoirs and the elaborate channels are silent testaments to their wisdom and their harmony with nature. When you see the perfectly fitted stones or the ingenious methods they used to divert water, remember that you're witnessing more than just the remnants of an ancient civilization. You're looking at the legacy of a people who understood the true value of water, a value we all share today, storing them in reservoirs and canals for the drier months. When the sun beat down and the earth cracked with thirst, they turned to the underground. As the Maya priests performed their rituals atop the pyramid's summit, they were oblivious to the watery labyrinth that lay hidden beneath their feet. Yet it was this very water system that gave life to the pyramid, quite literally, building deep cisterns to collect the life-giving water that seeped through the porous limestone. Before entering the temple to pay homage to the gods, the Maya would wash themselves in these sacred waters. It's a place of purification, a place where you must cleanse yourself before approaching the king. You kneel beside the pool and dip your hands into the cool water, feeling its flow over your skin. It's not just water, it's water blessed by the Maya cosmos, believed to have healing and protective powers. After washing your hands, you continue your journey to the palace, now feeling purified and ready to present your offering to the king, cleansing both body and spirit in preparation for offerings and ceremonies. It was a living, breathing part of the landscape. These served not only as places for washing, but also as ritual baths for priests and nobles. During important ceremonies, these pools would be filled with water from the sacred spring, imbued with special powers according to Maya cosmology. Priests would then use this water to bless the faithful or to make offerings to the gods. From here, you could once watch the sunrise paint the sky with hues of pomegranate and gold, a daily spectacle that never failed to stir the soul. But it's the water that truly steals the show. From an overflow channel built into the temple's base, a thin stream tumbles down a series of carefully designed chutes, forming a miniature water cascade. This isn't just engineering brilliance, it's artistry. Every curve and contour is a testament to the Maya's dedication to form and function. In the dry months, you'd lower a woven basket into cisterns deep beneath the palace floor. Feel the cool mist rising from the channels. They were a symbol of life, a constant reminder of the rhythm of nature that the Maya so revered. As the water danced over the limestone, it created a mesmerizing display of light and shadow. Sunlight glinted off the surface, setting the green foliage around it ablaze with jewels of light. The sound of the falling water mingled with the chorus of unseen birds, creating a symphony of the jungle, the soft murmur of water against stone, a lifeline in a world of unpredictable skies. In this place, water wasn't just a resource, it was a language. The Maya spoke it fluently. Here at the base of the temple of the sun god, where the old-growth forest presses close against the ancient stones, imagine yourself descending a broad staircase hewn from solid rock. Each step is a testament to the mason's skill. No mortar was needed. Each block was carved to interlock with its neighbor, a silent symphony of granite. Above you, vines and trees weave a leafy canopy, filtering the light into emerald shafts that shimmer on the water below. As you stand there, breathe in the scent of damp earth and blooming night jasmine carried on the breeze. These cascading waters were more than just a water feature. Imagine touching the smooth, cool surface of the water as it cascaded down the rock. The water, infused with minerals from the earth. But the waterworks of Palenque were more than just feats of engineering and artistry. Around the temple, there were smaller pools, some built into the stairways leading up to the platform. Picture yourself as a member of the Maya nobility, preparing for an audience with the king. On the way, you pass by a pool built into the base of a nearby pyramid. It's not just any pool. Life in the Maya world revolved around water. Their ingenuity in managing water resources allowed them to thrive in a region where water was both abundant and unpredictable. As you explore the remains of the Maya cities, deep within the Maya realm, hidden away from prying eyes, lies a secret marvel of engineering, the 13th-tiered Kukulkan Pyramid in Uxmal. Imagine this, a vast reservoir nestled beneath the pyramid's foundation, fed by a series of cleverly concealed channels. For the Maya, water wasn't just a life-sustaining resource. It was a conduit to the gods, a sacred element that carried spiritual significance. Picture yourself standing at the base of the pyramid, at the peak of the pyramid, amidst the crumbling remnants of temples and palaces. The pyramid wasn't just a place of worship. Hidden beneath the bustling streets of modern Merida, the capital of Yucatan, lies a subterranean river. For the Maya, water wasn't just a necessity. It was a life force, a sacred element that sustained not only their bodies. Imagine the Maya engineers standing in the dimly lit chambers beneath the city. This subterranean river, with its steady flow of fresh water, picture yourself walking along one of the many channels that carried water from the underground river to various parts of the city. The water from the underground river didn't just quench the thirst of the Maya people, it also nourished their crops. It was a testament to their ingenuity and their deep connection to the natural world. Today, much of the underground river system remains hidden beneath the bustling streets of Merida. We are standing in the heart of what was once a bustling city, but now there is no one around us. And above us towers the Great Pyramid of Tikal. Behind me are the tumbled stones of the Temple of the Masks. But it's here in this clearing where archaeologists made a truly remarkable discovery. 9 incredible limestone altars buried beneath the jungle floor. Each monolith stands over 4 meters tall, with some weighing more than 20 tons. They were originally set up in front of the temple when it was first built nearly 1,500 years ago, and they were used for centuries during ceremonies that marked the beginning of the Maya calendar, the count of days, years and generations. A chorus of mournful chants echoed off the cavern walls. At times the air grew thick with the scent of copal, a sacred Maya incense, mingling with the earthy aroma of the underworld, each offering a glimpse into the rituals conducted here. And what they found engraved upon them has revealed how the Maya viewed the journey into the underworld, the realm of the dead, because they were deliberately broken and buried under a massive platform, casting long shadows across the plaza. The priests prepared for the night's rituals. Blood offerings were laid out, not as a gruesome spectacle, but as an act of reverence. Painted in vivid colors on the cave wall was the image of a hand reaching towards a skull, a haunting reminder of the inevitability of death and the promise of rebirth. It was a potent symbol of the Maya belief system, sharing myths that explained the creation of the world and the journey of the soul. These myths weren't just stories, they were a roadmap for the living. The Maya saw the rise and fall of civilizations as just another turn in the long spiral of history. Every ending, they believed, carried within it the seed of a new beginning, guiding them on how to live their lives and how to prepare for what lay beyond. It allows us to witness their deep connection to their ancestors. They teach us to view death not as an ending, but as a transition, a moment when the soul is reborn and joins the grand cycle of existence once again. The Plaza of the 9 Altars will remain etched in our memories. It serves as a powerful symbol of the Maya civilization, a tribute to their rich culture, and a reminder of the profound impact they had on the world. Their respect for the dead and their fascination with the cosmos Just as the Maya priests studied the stars and charted the cycles of the cosmos, we too are driven to understand the mysteries of the universe. The Plaza of the Nine Altars serves as a touchstone, a reminder of the profound beliefs that shaped this ancient civilization. We carry with us the lessons and wisdom it has shared. The Plaza of the Nine Altars in particular stands as a testament to the human spirit as unquenchable curiosity and desire to understand the world around us. The glaive of the hand reaching for the skull echoes the universal human experience of confronting mortality. It is a stark reminder of our own journey through life and the inevitable end that awaits us all. It's a testament to their ingenuity, their creativity, and their desire to understand the world around them, one that celebrated the interconnectedness of life and death. The rituals and offerings were not just about appeasing the gods or the dead. They were about understanding one's place in the grand cycle of life, death, and rebirth. The very structure of their society, their political system, their art, their architecture, all reflected this belief of the physical and spiritual realms. The blood, often from the sacrificed animals, symbolized the vital essence that sustained life. By offering this, the Maya believed they were nourishing the souls of their ancestors, their masks resembling the divine sorcerers known as the Lords of Death. They calculated the precise moments when the veil between the worlds was thinnest, allowing easier communication with the spirit realm. During these moments, they would lead the community in prayers and offerings, ensuring the dead were honored and their souls found peace. Incense burned, filling the air with its pungent aroma and carrying their prayers skyward. They sang and danced, their movements mimicking the celestial bodies they so carefully observed. It was during these rituals that the boundaries between the physical world and the realm of the dead became blurred. The priests, through their chants and offerings, guided the spirits of the ancestors and ensured their continued protection over the living. These men were not mere intermediaries between the living and the dead. They were skilled astronomers, mathematicians, and storytellers, tasked with ensuring the safe passage of souls into the afterlife. Likely during the collapse of the classic Maya civilization around the year 900 AD, this suggests that these monuments were intentionally hidden, perhaps because of changing religious beliefs or the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors. Now, thanks to National Geographic, we have a chance to explore these sacred sites ourselves. The portal to the underworld. It was not a place one entered willingly or even alive. Instead, it was a destination reached only by the recently deceased. The journey into the underworld began with a ritual bath symbolizing purification and a cleansing of the body. Then came the transit, a perilous journey across dangerous terrains fraught with obstacles and trials, leading finally to the underworld. The final resting place, the entrance to Ceiba, the Maya underworld, was believed to be located deep within the earth. These stone altars lie beneath a vast plaza ringed by temples, and yet despite their size and importance, we can barely see them today. But now we have a chance to see them for ourselves, thanks to the work of archaeologists and National Geographic, who have uncovered these altars and allowed us to experience the power of the Maya and their connection to the underworld. What did they offer? The steely glint of blood against the backdrop of an incense cloud rising like a phoenix. From the depths of the earth, they reveal a profound understanding of the afterlife and a society deeply connected to its ancestors. Who performed these rituals? In the heart of the Maya underworld, priests clad in the jaguar pelts played a pivotal role. Their knowledge of the cosmos allowed them to align rituals with celestial events, making them more effective. What did the rituals involve? As the sun dipped below the horizon, when all was ready, the priests began the ceremony. Amidst the gloom, a single glyph seemed to glow. What do these rituals tell us about Maya society? In the flickering light of the ceremonial fires, the Maya priests wove tales of the underworld. For the Maya, death was not an ending, but a transition. As we stand before the silent altars, half buried in the earth, we are reminded of the cyclical nature of time. The Plaza of the Nine Altars offers us a unique window into the heart of the Maya civilization. What can we learn from the Maya as we continue our exploration of the Maya site? Yet the Maya, with their elaborate rituals and deep understanding of the cosmos, offer a different perspective. Exploring the Maya underworld reminds us of the boundless curiosity and thirst for knowledge that drives humanity forward. As we journey deeper into the Maya site, leaving the Maya site behind, finally, cast your mind forward to a bustling village near Palanc's ruins. There, amidst the emerald canopy, a new generation of Maya farmers tends fields of hybrid maize beneath solar panels. At dusk, you join a circle around a fire pit of volcanic stones. Scholars, ritualists, and teenagers share stories, They wear headdresses of quercus leaves alongside modern backpacks filled with notebooks. This is the living Maya. Their heritage not confined to silent ruins, but woven into every sunrise, every prayer, every new glyph drawn in the dust. As you breathe in the night air heavy with flowering guava, remember that history is not a distant echo but a pulse beneath your skin. In the jungle clearings, the raised fields that once grew maize, squash, and beans were being abandoned. They carried their traditions, knowledge, and resilience like seeds tucked beneath their clothing, waiting for the right moment to sprout. In the heart of the Yucatan, they found refuge among the rugged terrain and dense jungles, far from the prying eyes of the outside world, because it challenges the traditional narrative of history. Let us listen to the whispers of the past and ensure that the vibrant cultures of the Maya. About 650 kilometers south of Tikal, nestled within the modern borders of Mexico, lies the city of Palenque. The ebb and flow of trade and the constant rhythm of daily life. Unlike the abrupt departure of the Maya from Tikal, the story of Palenque is one of continuity and change. In fact, one of the most compelling chapters in Palenque's history involves the Pakal dynasty. Much like Tikal, it faced a decline that led to abandonment. The reasons for this decline were complex, likely a combination of droughts, overpopulation, and perhaps even warfare. But while Palenque fell from its former heights, it did not disappear completely. Instead, it retreated into the shadows, becoming a living memory, a backdrop to the vibrant life that continued around it. A line of Maya rulers whose influence and legacy left an indelible mark on the kingdom. Listen to the laughter of children playing the ancient ball game, the rhythmic chant of fishermen casting their nets, and the quiet wisdom of elders sharing stories around the fire. And when you do, you'll realize that the Maya are not confined to the pages of history books or museum displays. They are alive and thriving, proving that even after centuries, their spirit remains unbroken and their culture continues to flourish. They saw it as a part of their everyday world. They used its ruins as building material for their homes, tended small gardens within its courtyards, and wove tales of its former glory into their stories. It was not an ancient ruin, but an old neighbor. The dynasty is particularly noted for its royal tombs, each a treasure trove of historical insight. Scholars from abroad began to arrive, intrigued by tales of the lost Maya. They set foot in Palenque, eager to uncover its secrets. Among them were men like Theobert Mahler, a German artist and archaeologist who made meticulous drawings of the site's monuments, or Juan Giocondo, an Italian explorer who marveled at the city's grandeur. However, it was Alfonso Caso, a Mexican archaeologist, who truly ushered Palenque into the spotlight. His excavations in the 1920s and 30s brought the city's treasures to international renown. Founded sometime around the 3rd century AD, it was a center of power and culture that rivaled Tikal in its grandeur. They attend school, ride bicycles, and dream dreams as vibrant and varied as any other teenagers around the world. The ancient rhythms of tradition and the vibrant hues of modernity. They are the children of the ancient Maya, the heirs to a legacy that has endured for centuries. They are the Maya of tomorrow. Yet when the sun sets and the jungle shadows grow long, they gather around the flickering flames of tradition. They share stories of brave heroes, mischievous tricksters, and the eternal struggle between good and evil. And as the stars begin to pepper the night sky, they look up and whisper their prayers to the ancient gods who once walked among them. This subterranean chamber was adorned with intricate carvings and astronomical charts. At its heart lay the sarcophagus of Pakal himself, his skeletal remains offering clues to his lineage and the grandeur of his rule. Yet perhaps the most iconic image associated with Pakal's tomb is that of the king himself, depicted not as a fierce warrior, but as a man transformed. His features soften, his body intertwines with the roots of the sacred ceiba tree, symbolizing his connection to the spiritual realm. But unlike its northern counterpart, Palenque was not abandoned. It evolved, adapting to changing times while holding fast to its Maya roots. The entire city is a testament to the Pakal dynasty's achievements. Palenque's architectural marvels, such as the Cross Temple, with its awe-inspiring hieroglyphic stairway, tell tales of their victories and lineage. Even in the more intimate corners of the city, like the palace complex, there are stories to be found. For instance, in one of the rooms, an inscription detailing Pakal's son's victory over the fierce Quiche Maya warriors was found. This wasn't just a boastful boast, but a historical record, reminding us that behind the titles of king and warrior, there were real people making their mark on history. The resilient heartbeat of the Yucatan Peninsula continued to thrive for generations to come. It reminds us that the chapters we read about in books or watch in documentaries are not the only ones that matter. It's a call to recognize and respect the strength, resilience, and wisdom of indigenous cultures who have thrived against all odds. Here, nestled in this hidden sanctuary, they built new lives, preserving their cultural treasures. They continued to speak their ancient languages, kept alive the sacred rituals, and passed down their rich history through oral traditions. Animal bones lay scattered, pottery lay overturned, and houses were slowly succumbing to the relentless creep of vines and trees. Under the stewardship of visionary leaders, they successfully lobbied for land rights, educational opportunities, and political representation. Today, their voices are heard, their cultures celebrated, and their rights respected. It's a testament to their unyielding spirit, their capacity to adapt, and their determination to honor their heritage. By the 11th century, the city was deserted, its fate intertwined with the collapse of the broader Maya civilization, guiding futures yet to be imagined. Ancient origin myths riddled in hopscotch games, maize deities invoked in rap verses. You feel the warmth of the fire on your face, the soft hum of conversation weaving past and present. Their children in school uniforms learn both Spanish and Yucatec Maya glyphs on tablet screens. In this same village, community archaeologists work hand in hand with elders to map unexcavated temples by drone and lidar. These people walk the old stone causeways to festivals celebrating the new Bacton, reviving dances lost for centuries. Let me take you back now to show you how they got here. But before we go further, if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of our videos. Its name, which would resonate through time, was Tikal. Perched atop a limestone ridge, it dominated the surrounding lowlands. From its highest pyramid, the Temple I, the first, one could see for miles across a landscape dotted with raised fields, artificial ponds, and the far-off sparkle of the Caribbean Sea. Life here revolved around the sacred calendar, meticulously charting days, months, and years in a cosmic dance. When the Great Cycle, the 5,125-year-long countdown, reached zero on August 11, 999 AD, it did not signal an ending, but a beginning, a new creation, a turning of the wheel of life. And if you really love what we are doing here, please consider becoming a member. Your support will help us continue to make great videos like this one. Thanks so much. And now let's go back in time. In the year 800 AD, deep within the jungles of the Yucatan Peninsula, a Maya city flourished. Yet just beyond the city's shimmering horizon, a different story unfolded. But here's where our tale takes an unexpected turn. While the grand cities fell silent, the Maya people did not vanish. It was a long and arduous journey, but by the 19th century, the Maya had begun to reclaim their place in the world. So why is this story important? As we move forward, let us carry these lessons close. But let's turn our attention to a different corner of the Maya world. Over the centuries, it saw the rise and fall of dynasties. Among them, the tomb of Pakal the Great, discovered in 1952, stands out as a pivotal find, descending some 80 feet into the earth. But it's not just about the tombs. However, by the 9th century, the glory days of Palenque came to an end. The Maya who lived near Palenque did not see it as a relic of the past. And then in the 19th century, something remarkable happened. Today, the descendants of those early Maya residents live on, carrying the memories of their ancestors in their hearts. Their world is a tapestry woven with threads from two distinct looms. So if you ever find yourself in the Yucatan, take a moment to look beyond the tourist attractions and the guidebook tales. And so, our journey through time and memory comes to a close. We have walked the dusty fields where young hands toiled under a burning sky, stood in the marble courts of kings and priests, listened to the hush of cavernous underworlds, let the echoes of priests' chants, the murmur of water over stone, and the rustle of jungle leaves guide you gently toward rest. There are countless worlds waiting in the pages of history, stories of merchants on the Silk Road, coal miners in Victorian England, samurai servants behind fortress gates, and more. Subscribe and ring the little bell, and I'll guide you there with the same calm, detailed exploration, and watched living traditions blossom anew from the stones of ancient temples. Each story, each stone, each whispered glyph carries a pulse of human experience, hope and hardship, faith and wonder, endings and new beginnings. Tonight, we have traced the rhythms of a civilization that understood both the weight of the earth and the vastness of the stars. Now, as the fireflies of Palenque drift into the darkness and the cicadas sing their final lullaby, allow your breath to slow. If tonight's voyage stirred your curiosity, consider joining us again. Until then, sleep well, friend. May your dreams carry you through starlit temples and secret cenotes. and may the rhythm of the past soothe you into peaceful slumber. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know what you thought about it down below in the comments. Did you learn something new? Did it take you somewhere you've always wanted to go? Or did it make you want to visit these places for yourself? If you liked it, please show your support. It really helps. See you soon.